Gerald wants to know, I have a new chain. What is the best process for lubing and what lube do you recommend? A properly lubed chain is essential to a quiet drivetrain and preventing premature component wear, so spending a little more on a high quality lube will actually end up saving you money in the long run. When it comes to chain lubes, the options can be a bit overwhelming. You have wet lubes, dry lubes, Teflon lubes, and even plant-based lubes. The chain lube that I've been using and have become a big fan of is the Dumontech Pro X series lubes. These lubes seem to offer the best of both worlds when it comes to having to choose between a wet and dry lube. It is very clean and doesn't attract dirt like a high quality dry lube, and runs quietly and is very protective of metal and more durable than most wet lubes on the market. I like using the light formula on road bikes and the regular formula on mountain bikes. No matter which lube you choose to use, proper application is critical to getting the most performance out of your lube. The number one mistake people make when it comes to lubing a chain is over applying. If you're putting on a new chain or simply changing lubes, here's the best way to do it. You'll want to start with as clean a chain as possible, so remove the chain from the bike and soak it in a high quality degreaser. If the chain is brand new, it will come lubed with grease, which you may want to remove if you ride in dusty conditions, allowing you to use a more appropriate lube. After letting the chain soak in the degreaser for a while, pull it out and use a rag to clean the degreaser off the chain. Once you've done a good job of removing the dirt and/or degreaser, dry the chain as much as you can and reinstall or install the chain on the bike. Now we can apply lube to the chain. Each lube has an optimum application process, but since I use Dumontech's lubes, I'll show you theirs. Apply a drop of lube to each roller and pin assembly. The drop should be just big enough to cover the roller pin and assembly. You don't need to lube the outside plates of the chain. I use either the master link or replacement pin as a starting and finishing point so I know when I've hit every link in the chain. Yes, this is a little time consuming and may seem like a pain, but believe me, it's worth it. After applying the lube to the chain, run the chain through a rag to wipe off the excess lube. I then like to run the bike through all its gears and then give one more wipe down. This helps the lube to penetrate and plate the metal parts of the drivetrain. When reapplying, which only needs to be done roughly every 300 to 400 miles, or when the chain starts making a little more noise than normal, there's no need to strip the chain of the old lube. Just reapply the same way you did before and wipe away the excess. Again, it's important not to apply too much. Over-applying any chain lube will attract more dirt and create a mess of your drivetrain. It can also fling lube onto other components, and if that happens to be a disc brake, you're not going to have a fun day on the bike. Don't be an Uber luber. If you want your question asked on Ask a Mechanic, presented by Cyclery, send your inquiry to webletters@competitorgroup.com.